begin this hour with a Fox News alert. House Speaker Paul Ryan is telling Republicans he will not defend or campaign with Donald Trump for the remainder of the election season. It happened on a conference call a short while ago with House Republicans, and we are following the story as it is developing. This is Outnumbered. I'm Harris Faulkner. Here today, Sandra Smith, host of Kennedy on Fox Business, Kennedy herself, Fox News political legal analyst Ebony Williams, and today's hashtag one lucky guy. Oh yeah, he's back. The host of the O'Reilly Factor, Bill O'Reilly, outnumbered with a big old selling book going, MMB, multimedia. Bill, good to see you.
Is it really?
It is. Can't you feel the excitement?
I mean, come on. All right.
Thank you for joining us on a big day.
There's Rising Sun. Yeah, it's doing well. We got lots to talk about today, that's for sure.
Bill's latest bestseller, Killing the Rising Sun, How America Vanquished World War II Japan, on sale right now. So good to have you.
Thank you.
We'll get to the big news right now. Just minutes ago, Speaker Paul Ryan advising members on that conference call this morning to do what is best for their district. Also saying he will spend his energy now making sure Hillary Clinton does not get a blank check with a Democrat-controlled Congress. All right, I come out to you with the news of this, and apparently he jumped back on the call, Bill, and said this does not mean that he is unendorsing Trump. Your thoughts?
Well, it's obvious that the Republicans think Trump's going to lose. The Republican hierarchy thinks he's going to lose. And that may well be the case. However, last night in the debate, Trump, stopped the catastrophe for the moment. And I think he did as well as he could have done under the circumstances. But let's face it, if the Republican Party loses the House, and that's Ryan's responsibility, then if Hillary Clinton is elected, the country takes a radical turn to the left.
What do you hinge the sudden back and forth now with Paul Ryan? I mean,
well, it's all on the tape. It's all on this tape. That's what the whole thing is. And the debate last night for the 30 minutes, the first 30 minutes, that was about that. So they feel the Republican hierarchy never liked Trump to begin with. Never. All right. They feel that he's not, I don't know, responsible enough, maybe that's the word, to be president. They don't say it because the Republican rank and file, the folks, voted for him. So they don't want to go up against their own people, but it's clear the Republican hierarchy doesn't like Trump.
All right, so I wrote down what you said. Stop the catastrophe for the moment, Kennedy.
Right.
It's interesting because what I see here is Paul Ryan running for president in 2020. I think that is solidified in his mind. I think there is concern among some Republicans that perhaps there are more tapes to come out. Perhaps there's more that, Donald Trump doesn't necessarily remember as a private citizen saying and doing. And, I think that is probably something that's keeping him up late at night. I do think that it's kind of curious that he makes this big move this morning, because I agree with Bill in that Trump neutralized a lot of the discussion about the tape last night. And in doing that, the Republican Party, with these vice presidential and presidential, with their nominees, I thought they had a very big week with these debates. Rewriting the rules of modern political history can be a little messy, and I think we saw that last night. It's going to take some time and a little bit of perspective in order to really make sense of what we saw. We can't do that in an instant.
Well, we know that right away, Speaker Ryan was asked about endorsing Trump, right after the debate, and he said there is no update in his position at this time, and then now this conference call. Ebony?
So this is incredibly difficult to navigate and have a conversation around. My mother called me last night after the debate. She's a Trump supporter. She was elated. To Bill's point, she felt like he really did a nice job of kind of stopping the bleeding for the time being. Here's the issue. This is about thresholds. And every single person in this country has a threshold around what they will support, what they won't support. We've seen many Republicans throughout this primary and this campaign have different points at which that threshold has been crossed. We heard John McCain say for him the tape was it. The POW talk wasn't. There were other things that he was able to overlook. He said he showed deference to the will of the people around many things. But for them, this crossed the threshold. And I think for Paul Ryan, what I hear him saying is, regardless of the debate performance, the threshold has already been crossed.
And by the way, just the sheer observance of down ballot trends on the GOP side would lead him to do this kind of thing. But as our producer reminds us, that Ryan has spent the past 5 months touting a better way agenda. Ryan has said Republicans have to be for things and not just against things. Well, isn't that sort of what he's doing here by saying he's not for Hillary Clinton, but he's against Donald Trump?
Again, he's in a survival mode, Ryan. It's hard to, at this point, read his mind.
Right.
But he's never liked Trump. Ryan has never liked him, all right? So, and then, you know, there are rumors that there's, you know, more stuff coming out and all of that. So I think Ryan is basically saying to the Republican Party, look, you're all on your own, we'll help you, but we're not going to really get behind Trump. Yeah, because it could destroy us if there is something else.
It is interesting, real quickly, that, you know, the anti-establishment really was for both Bernie Sanders on the left and Donald Trump. So maybe this won't matter so much to some voters that Paul Ryan has pulled back. But
no, it's not going to matter.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of his core support, but it just speaks to the issue of, did he ever really support him to begin with?
No.
I think that's a fair question.
He never did. But the folks are going to decide. I mean, this is a visceral election. This is an emotional election.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter. I said that a long time ago. It doesn't matter who endorses or what newspaper or what commentator. Everybody's going to say, look, I think a lot of people are going to stay home.
Yeah.
They're not going to show.
It's very individual.
Like either of them.
It's an emotional election, and it's a quickly changing election. So that conference call coming one day after a debate in which Donald Trump apologized for a leaked tape that caught him making lewd remarks about women. He repeatedly called it locker room talk and said he was sorry, but Hillary was not going to let him off the hook. Watch.
Go high.
That was quite a moment last night. So, Bill, what did you make of Donald Trump invoking Bill Clinton's past, not just with his words, but as he just mentioned, those accusers were in the audience. He sat them front row with members of his family, among them Paula Jones, Juanita Broderick. We have an image there. Your thoughts?
Well, that's the strategy, to say, okay, I did something bad myself on the bus with the Exit Hollywood guy. But look, don't be a hypocrite, because Bill Clinton's done worse than I have, and then his wife, Hillary Clinton, basically defended him. So it's a classic defense mechanism.
How did he handle with the it was just locker room talk on his side?
Well, what else is he going to say? I mean, that's what he's going to say. Look, they sit in a room, all right, they being Trump and maybe 8 or 9 people, and they said, okay, this is a disaster, right? This is terrible. So they're going to ask us about it. What are we going to say? And then they come up with a phrase. What was the phrase with Bill Clinton? It's only about sex, right? Remember that? That was Carville. Carville and his crew came up with that. It's exactly the same. This is what these people do. So they give it to Trump, and then Trump says it 5 times. That's how many times he said it in the debate. So, again, it's the people at home with the responsibility of casting the ballot decide, all right, I'm going to give Trump a pass on this, and vote for him, or I'm not. It's too horrendous, and I don't trust him, and that's it. So we commentators, all we can do is provide perspective. Now, tonight on my program, I'm going to tell you about this 12-year-old girl. We've researched this case because nobody knows. Nobody knows what that is. So, you know, tune in tonight, and I'll have all of that data for you.
But Bill's articulating my point about thresholds, and this is so different than any other election in my book, because it's not about a collective thought. And one place Hillary Clinton misspoke to me was when she said, this is so clear. No, it's not clear at all. It's very individual. Every American, for themselves and by themselves, will have to decide if indeed that's satisfactory to hear Donald Trump say that it's just locker room talk, and they can forgive that and move on and vote for him because they feel that he's the remedy that they need in Washington, or they will say, you know what, for me, enough is enough, and that's just, he's gone too far. And that will be the challenge that he will continue to have throughout the rest of this election.
And the press conference with the 4 victims. I mean, that was the trump card. That was the pageantry. Nuclear bomb.
Less than 90 minutes before the debate started.
And what we were trying to figure out was the people on the stage, the uncommitted voters who were selected by Gallup for the Commission on Presidential Debates, were they aware that the press conference had gone underway? Did they have their phones taken from them? Was there any way of getting that information?
But it doesn't matter, though. So what? It's bad behavior pointing to other bad behavior.
Yeah, but that's his point is too. So
everybody
today,
knows what
but
that
what
is.
Trump wants to do is have everyone talking about that press conference and not about
to deflect
the tape.
attention away from him. And this is what they do in courts. This is what they 5-year-olds do. How can you punish me, man? He set the barn on fire. You know, I mean, So I'm saying the American people are smart enough to understand what it is.
Yeah.
And then you make the personal decision.
Okay, I interviewed Kathleen Willey last night, and, you know, she said that she actually has
one of his accusers.
Yeah, one of his accusers. She has a close relationship with two of the other women who were also at the press conference, and she said Hillary Clinton is a fake feminist. For her to stand up and say that she fights for women, she fights for children, she said that was very painful. Those statements from her are painful to listen to because she had the opposite experience.
So if anything, it did show a very awkward moment last night, Harris, when the accusers were walked.
There were a lot of awkward
and to
moments.
sit down in the front row, you could very much see the discomfort in Bill Clinton. When
Well, I think for me it started from the top when they didn't even shake hands, but we'll get into this later. Okay, so you mentioned there's potentially more of this to come. And you talk about that room where they all sit around and they prepare for this. How do you prepare for that? I mean, at the end of the first debate, and they were talking about Alicia Machado, Donald Trump's response to Hillary Clinton was, "Where did you get that?" I mean, this is really, you know, there could be more, there could be tape, there could be audio. I mean, is the public going to be told about this? Does his team get out in front of it all? Have they done
You can't really get out in front because you don't know. But listen, the media,
well, like
I think
there's
we
another
would all
attacker
agree.
this morning. There's another woman this morning who's come through.
Of course.
So do you answer each one or just keep
No,
walking?
you don't answer unless it reaches a critical mass. But 90% of the media despises Trump. It's not just they don't like his policies, they don't like him. All right? And so they're going to try to find or buy or whatever they can do stuff that's going to hurt him. And then on the other side, you know, there are people looking for stuff about Hillary Clinton and things like that. So there's 4 weeks left, 4 weeks from tomorrow.
How much dirtier can it get?
Well,
No, I can't get. Look, I mean, Trump is a rich guy who pretty much did what he wanted to do for 40 years.
Yeah.
Okay, and so that could be stuff.
we want to get this in because this latest NBC Wall Street Journal poll taken Saturday and Sunday before the debate happened last night, showing Hillary Clinton now with an 11-point lead nationally over Donald Trump.
Yeah, I mean, that's predictable. That'll shrink after the debate. But Mrs. Clinton has a firm lead, and I would say the odds are that she will win the election. The third debate, you know, that means something. But right now, the secretary's in front. There's no doubt.
Do you put the odds different now than you did in the past?
Oh, sure. You know, this tape really hurt Donald Trump. I mean, you know, it's one of these things where you sit at home and then people go, who's worse? Yeah. It's not.
I guess I asked that.
No, that's what he's worse.
The reason that I asked that is because the news of him saying things like this is not necessarily new. Is it just that it got caught on tape?
Yeah, it's tape.
They heard his voice saying
and the language is stark.
Yeah.
Okay?
And the attitude.
Right. And you know, the New York Times printed that whole thing on page 1 with all the four-letter words and all the other things. I'm saying it.
And people have been saying it.
I
on
actually
air.
did not see that.
Yeah, it was. I mean, you're going, okay, look, we know you hate him, but we know you hate Trump, all right? But do you have to do this? Yeah. And they did.
Classless. I agree.
All right.
For those of us with middle schoolers who are trying to encourage them to read the newspaper, it's a bit disconcerting.
Yeah. I told Bella to just read the cooking section.
Terrible editorial decision.
Very classy.
All right. Some are calling it the ugliest debate ever for reasons which we just mentioned, the insults between Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton and the impact their rhetoric could have on voters, and Hillary Clinton defending her paid speeches to Wall Street firms after the latest dump from WikiLeaks, how her reported comments on public and private positions on some issues could affect her trustworthiness. We'll discuss.
Welcome back. What a Monday. Now, just a short time ago, WikiLeaks releasing over 2,000 new emails purported to be from Hillary Clinton campaign chairman John Podesta. This after they released another batch on Friday, which contains alleged excerpts of some of the paid speeches Hillary made to Wall Street firms, including Goldman Sachs. Now, last night, she defended her claim found in those leaked emails that politicians need both a public and a private position on certain political issues. A cultural icon and a historian on the couch right now, Bill O'Reilly. I go to you. You know more about Lincoln's life than...
Yeah, old Abe would be really, really sad these days to watch what's happening here. The I'm not so angry or upset about Hillary Clinton's WikiLeaks exposure. I think the most important thing was that she says she wants open borders. And Trump didn't even mention that last night. I think that's huge myself, because that's an issue that just polarizes Americans, and you can really go to town. But a public and a private posture, they all have those. I mean, any Catholic politician who supports abortion, oh, well, personally I'm against it, but I don't want to, you know, that's the kind of thing that Hillary Clinton says. Is Hillary Clinton a sincere woman? No, she isn't. Okay? But how many politicians are? The bar is so low. And Lincoln was the guy who raised the bar. So he was the best.
Look what
but don't forget, right in front of him was James Buchanan, the worst president the United States has ever seen. Okay? So it's an ebb and it's a flow, but right now, I don't know we have any Ronald Reagans or Abe Lincolns on the horizon. I'm not seeing them.
Yeah, so, you know, I printed some of these emails, and just to read through them and see what they said. One of them, to John Podesta, said they were talking about changing his speech. Change the nurse story so it's less self-congratulatory. There was a lot of that, you know, not so much focus on her. The formulation needs to be less about her. And then number 9, along the list of things they were trying to change about this one speech, and forgive my language, I'm just reading it here. More humor, first woman, ass kicker, coloring her hair. So those are some of the types of things. I mean, these are conversations going back, trying to humanize her in speeches. An issue that they've tried to do time and time again in the campaign, which I just thought was
And they've been unsuccessful in almost every attempt. I'll say this, Bill, you're right. There are no really noble men or women among us in terms of politics. But I do think there's something particularly off-putting, disingenuous about Hillary Clinton that repeatedly comes off. I thought that answer was one of the more ridiculous moments from her last night. She can put as much historical context around it. You know, Lincoln blame game, I thought was very poorly received.
Then the shout out to Democratic donor Steven Spielberg.
Yeah, such a fabulous film. Lincoln, like, come on, Madam Secretary, what are you talking about here? I think that she would have been better off just kind of being more onerous of it and just saying, you know what, sometimes because of the nature of politics, you have to present your personal opinion in a particular way and your professional one in a different one, and just had more ownership of it.
Well, and it also shows mechanically what flipped in the debate, because in the first debate, he would have these explanations or excuses that sort of teed her up for her canned lines. I don't think he saw the Abraham Lincoln thing coming, but he was able to respond to it.
He was good last night on the fly.
He was much better.
I mean, you'd be in jail. I mean, I know that was a great line.
The timing
That's something I would say. All right,
then you call her Pinhead.
Yeah.
Well,
you'd be in jail, you pinhead. I would have absolutely added that. But then, did you see the faux outrage by one of the CNN commentators? Not a commentator, reporter. I'm not going to mention her name because I think she's a good reporter. She goes, "Oh, this is like Hitler and Stalin."
You know,
violation.
Hey, lady, you know,
oh my God.
Somebody get her a Coke. I mean, you know.
No, I think she's had enough caffeine.
Really, you know, oh, Hitler and Stalin, you said he put her in jail. Hey, what do you think the FBI was doing for a year? Okay? Jeez. But we are living in an insane political time now. Insane.
Well, and to bring this full circle to whether or not she defended herself or explained herself as far as those paid Wall Street speeches, $225,000 apiece, to say there is such a bias against people who have led successful and or complicated lives. How often do we hear that from her in her attacks on Donald Trump? So for her to have been saying this to her Goldman Sachs audiences, and then what we hear publicly as her political persona every day, two very, very different things.
Yeah, she vilifies what she calls, you know, trumped up trickle-down economics, but then, you know, she goes in front of the billionaire class, and now we have a glimpse into some of the promises that she's made.
Don't ever listen to what people say, watch what they do. And her words, they're definitely just rhetoric, and she goes there, so we already know what it is. We know what it is.
No, it's true. All right, we're done.
Very good.
Can I leave?
No.
Is the show over? No, I have to say.
Not even.
I'm trying to behave.
It's like geometry class. This is like geometry class in high school.
I want to talk right through the commercial.
How much longer?
I need a Euclid's third axiom when we get back. More debate drama last night. Moderators openly sparring with Donald Trump. And now critics joining him and claiming.
I like geometry.
I love geometry. It's so satisfying. They were in the tank for Hillary. Were they biased? Or just being tough but fair. Plus, Donald Trump admitting he took a major tax deduction, but saying Hillary's donors do it all the time. Will his answers be enough to put the issue to rest? More from the couch in a moment.
30 more minutes, Bill.
We're saying all shades of awkwardness. Okay, just a couple of facts before we delve in. Moderators, according to reports, attempted to interrupt 41 times. 26 of those, perhaps more than often, were Donald Trump. 26 minutes in, only one audience question. Most of it was about the tape and such off the top, which you had mentioned. 33 minutes, 5 seconds went to Clinton. 40 minutes, 10 seconds went to Trump. Your thoughts?
Well, I thought the moderators were okay. I mean, I've worked with Martha Raddatz at WCVB in Boston. I know her pretty well. She made one mistake, and that was arguing about Syria with Trump, because she knows that area very well, and she's very passionate about it, and she believes, and I know this to be true, that Trump doesn't know anything about it. Okay. Now, whether that is a valid assessment, I don't know, because I don't know how much Trump knows about Syria. However, that was a mistake. If you're a moderator, you don't argue. I mean, that's Hillary Clinton's job to argue, not your job.
Right.
But otherwise, I think when they heard repetition, you know, as somebody who's done this before, when you hear repetition, you go in and say, okay, look, we heard that. All right, let's get to another question or get in the thing. So, I mean, do Anderson Cooper and Martha Raddatz, are they going to vote for Donald Trump? Never on this earth. All right? So we all know that. All right. So, yeah, he's right. It's 1 against 3. But I didn't think they were aggressively promoting Hillary Clinton. I didn't think they were doing that.
Well, I will say this for Anderson Cooper very early on. Remember, he said he wasn't voting at all because he felt like this election, and I don't know if he's going to keep to that. No handshake off the top. And a lot of comments online, Kennedy, about Donald Trump walking the stage and kind of sort of, I don't know, it's a town hall. You're allowed to do that.
You're allowed to do that, but it's also, I mean, that in itself is a very subtle dance, trying to figure out where to position your body without looking like you're stalking your opponent.
Or looking
and there were
awkward.
times where they framed him up with the camera, and the shots just looked weird because he was, you know, sort of ominously, it looked like leering behind her. But I agree with Kyle Smith in the New York Post this morning, which was the moderators inserted themselves to become the stars of the show. Yeah. And this is a debate forum where you have 38 people on stage, like Kenneth Bone, who had questions to ask of these candidates, and they actually did a better job of framing the questions so the candidates could answer them with a little less hostility.
Too bad they didn't start to get to those questions until 26 minutes in.
And by the way, it was 45 minutes in before there was any mention of what we just talked about in the last block of those leaked Wall Street speech excerpts. I found that to be amazing. That was sort of the lead story for everybody that day as far as what's happening with the Hillary Clinton camp. Are you going to say something?
I am, because you've moderated a debate. So I want to ask you, do you think we've gotten to the point where Donald Trump is right when
follow-up questions should be used only when absolutely necessary, in my opinion. And you feel that out as a moderator. That's your job as a moderator. But just exactly what you just said, Bill, Newt Gingrich, he's an advisor to Trump, former Speaker of the House. He said, why is Raddatz debating Trump? Isn't that Hillary's job? All they had to do was let Hillary respond. If he wasn't going where he was supposed to or wasn't answering a question, that is how a debate is set up. Obviously, it's a different format, a town hall format, but it was set up that she could have challenged him.
Is that sexist, that they're trying to rescue her from him? That,
I'll let
somehow...
you answer that.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, so no, but what Donald Trump has said is that he thinks it's time that we don't have moderators at all and that they just stand up there and be themselves. I don't know how you could do that in a 90-minute format, though, because what happens when you get to the 91st minute and they haven't stopped talking?
Would not trust these two hairs to police themselves in a moderator list.
No, they need a moderator because we don't want to brawl up there. I mean, you know.
They need Chris Wallace, and by gum, they're going to get him. Great teeth in Las Vegas.
One of the other big takeaways from last night, Donald Trump admitting he did not pay federal taxes for years, income taxes. But how about the way he tried to turn the issue to his advantage? Did it work? Stay with us.
Hundreds of millions of dollars in taxes including federal tax. Did he make any ground on this last night? It was a big moment.
It was a neutral. I think people understand that when you run companies like he does, the tax code is there, and they take what they call depreciation on buildings, and they take losses. And, yeah. So what are you supposed to not take it?
Right.
I have corporations, and I instruct my accountant Swifty, all right, to be
His name is not Swifty.
It is to me.
Shout out to
To be very, very conservative, all right? So if there's any doubt, pay it. Because I was audited 3 years in a row under Bill Clinton, and it was a political audit. They audited me because they didn't like me. If that were the case, that everybody on earth would audit me. And we had to actually go in and say, if you continue this, we're going to make it a big deal.
Gotcha.
But Trump, I'm not justifying the tax code, which I think needs to be changed. It does, because you can't favor, you have to give business room, especially when they start up. You have to, or you're not going to have any business. But at a certain point, there has to be a minimum that you pay. If you're going to be living in the Trump Tower and having a private jet, you've got to pay a minimum.
Yep.
All right? And that's the solution to this thing.
But so it goes back to, how could Donald Trump be at fault for taking advantage financially of the existing tax code? And then he blamed Hillary Clinton for not changing it. Was that effective?
I think it was. Sandra, look, I don't think anybody's mad at Donald Trump because he's using a legal advantage around.
Bernie Sanders is.
Well, and that's
There's
why
a lot of
he's
people,
still not
right,
standing,
From
right?
his third house
Bill?
on Lake Champlain.
But reasonable-minded people, I shall say, are not mad at that at all. In fact, I don't think that any of us should be paying income tax because we're not getting a lot of bang for our buck. I think that the government has been a poor steward of the money that they do have, and I think it really doesn't make any sense. So I don't think that's a place where Trump hurt himself at all.
Kennedy?
Duplicate programs, entitlements.
Yeah.
He's absolutely right. And if Hillary Clinton is talking about open borders, which, as a libertarian, I'm fine with, but I also think we need to end the entitlement state, because you cannot have both of those things happening at the same time and have a functioning economy and country. So I think there's a lot that he finally pinned her on that he didn't do effectively in the first debate. And, there were people sitting there for the first time going, oh, really? George Soros and Warren Buffett do the exact same thing?
Right.
And they're giving her millions and millions of dollars? Huh.
She loves to bring up the Warren Buffett thing. How can it be that Warren Buffett's secretary pays a higher tax rate than Warren Buffett himself? It's effective.
Well, she doesn't want to concentrate, too, on how she, probably with her own companies and things. That's what their tax people, not all named Swifty, are tasked with doing, is trying to find, that low threshold for all of them. But I think with this issue that Donald Trump has been missing an opportunity to grow beyond his base. This is one of those issues that you could really make a compelling argument for so I didn't pay taxes, but here's what would happen if you changed the laws, and how some of that money would have gone to different things that really need it, like military, so on and so forth.
Beautiful.
I think he could answer some of the criticism from the independent voters, and at the same time grow the tent a little bit bigger by saying, look, I know exactly where to go in there and mess with it.
Simplify the tax code. And you know what? Overpaying taxes, no offense, Bill, it's not virtuous, because you're really not getting a great return on your investment.
Agreed.
All right. Well, Harris was so disturbed by that lack of handshake to start the debate last night.
I know, you and I always, we hit elbows, we hug, we do whatever.
I think it started.
They didn't even shake hands.
It just kills Bill when we mentioned Twitter, but it was trending quickly. # no handshake last night. It really bothered a lot of people. Last night's debate wasn't a total slugfest, though. A heartwarming moment near the end when the candidates were asked what they like about each other. We'll discuss their answers. So sweet. And whether voters actually care.
Let's do it here.
That's sweet.
So my favorite Trump supporter that will remain nameless says that she thinks Donald Trump hurt himself by referring to Hillary Clinton as such a strong fighter and someone who's very tenacious and won't give up.
All right, that was your mother.
You do know
Trump was, I think that was an honest answer.
Yeah.
All right, that's an answer I probably would have given. I don't know Secretary Clinton that well, but I've met her a few times. I don't think she's the demon that a lot of people try to make her. And the reason I say that is because I know some of her friends. And in private, goes back to the private-public thing again, she's much kinder or more softer. And so when I saw Trump pick that out, I said, well, that was a smart play. And as far as she's concerned, I mean, look, she, again, has to maintain this outrage about him. You know, it's all personal. You know, she's offended and outraged by him, not his policies, him, the guy. So I think that was an excellent question, by the way, by the audience member.
I thought so.
Very, very good question. And I think they both answered appropriately.
It was a warm moment.
I agree. It made me sleep a little bit better last night, Sandra. Harris, was it a little bit of shade, though? Hillary's answer, to Bill's point, she really didn't compliment anything about Trump the man, but she was able to compliment the parenting that he did with his kids.
Well, no, I think she directly said that that's what she liked about him. I mean, he was a parent.
But she doesn't like
to his
anything
kids.
about him.
Not about him.
She likes the extension out to other people. That's like saying, what's the best thing about Harris Faulkner? Well, she's got a nice house.
No,
you know,
comparing my house to my kids is completely different.
Well, I can
live without my house.
That was a hypothetical.
No, okay.
Mama Bear's coming out.
It was an extension away from the person, because Hillary Clinton truly loathes Donald Trump and vice versa.
I guess I don't agree, because I think that your children are an extension of who you are, too.
She made that point.
And I gave her a lot of credit for going there, because it softened her a bit. She needs that, I think, more than he does. And so for him not to get all warm and fuzzy doesn't hurt or help him. He's neutral in that. People find him, they've already met his family. They all like his family. She just agreed with the rest of the nation.
Yeah, and I think that answer benefited him and it benefited her. You know, it shows that his children are passionate. They're actively campaigning for him. You know, they had some impressive speeches, particularly his son, Don Jr., at the RNC, but it also showed a softer side. She, you know, that was quick thinking on her part to show her softer side and say, as a mother and a grandmother, I really respect how much your children love and are invested in you and what you do. And I half expected if he went first to say, I don't like anything about it, and drop it. I think it was much better for him. And that's the kind of answer he would have given on The Apprentice.
Sure.
If he were fighting with the contestant on The Apprentice, he would have still said, I like winners, I like your fight, I like your spirit.
Ebony, if only they would have started with this question, would we have had a more cordial debate?
You couldn't start outside
I'm just
the boundary
saying.
of the news, though.
Underlined all that.
Well, Sandra has a point. I think maybe they should have started the debate with, all we are saying.
You've got a decent
Give
voice.
peace a chance. You know, and then Yoko would have come on after.
Sway while you sing?
You can do whatever you want.
And she would have broken up the band.
I'm only here for another 7 minutes, and then I'm out of here. But they had a lead with the tape, because that was the giant gorilla,
That's the news
and I thought, you know, it was a very interesting for me as a journalist back and forth to watch that first 30 minutes.
Agreed. Well, yes, ladies and gentlemen, he's done it again. Our very own Bill O'Reilly, penning yet another best-selling book. This one, Killing the Rising Sun. That and a new movie coming out based on another one of his runaway successes, Killing Reagan. Bill, he's with us to give us a preview.
You have to have it for yourself or an early Christmas gift for anyone. It's not too early. Bill O'Reilly's brand new book, Killing the Rising Sun, How America Vanquished World War II Japan. It's already a New York Times and Amazon bestseller. And also premiering this weekend. On your book, Bill, sales have been through the roof.
Yeah, we're
since the last time
busy,
we spoke.
and you know, people ask me, well, why are the Killing books so successful? We have 16 million in print. This is the sixth book, and it's because you learn about your country, but you also have fun. It's a fun read. It's not like 900 pages. It's 300 pages, and each page is a turner, and you keep turning them around. But Rising Sun is a little bit different because it talks about the courage and nobility of Americans. You know, these soldiers and Marines and naval people, 18, 19, 20. That was the age that were fighting, and how brave they were, and what they did. And my father was in it; he was in it. And I'm not going to tell more because it's in the book and all that. But Americans want stories about their country that are noble, that are show us in a good light, particularly in a season where there's not a lot of nobility going around.
All right,
call you MMB.
And the movie
bill, because you got it all going on.
The movie bill happening this Sunday.
It's a good movie. I saw it. They had a premiere in Washington on Thursday, and Tim Matheson plays Reagan. And
we'll have a nice tutorial this week, Bill.
Yeah.
Mr. Bill O'Reilly, great to have you on such a big day.
Thanks, ladies. I always appreciate you having me in.
Thanks, good to have you. All right, we are back on TV tomorrow at noon Eastern. Thank you for joining us today. Happening Now starts right now.